Hey everybody, we're on the road again. I'm heading over to Trevor Hack's house. We're going to take his English dog named Kraken out. Kraken's a pretty well-known English dog that's done a lot of winning. And this will actually be my first English coon hound video. A lot of you guys requested this one, so it should be a good video. I hope you enjoy it, and thanks for watching. So you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Trevor Hack from Marengo, Ohio here, and it's nice to meet you, Clayton. Nice to appreciate you coming to go hunting with Kraken tonight.
Yeah.
Hopefully he'll do a good job for us and show us some coon.
So what got you into coon hunting?
Well, I started coon hunting probably when I was 9 or 10. I went with my grandpa some. He always had English dogs, and he hide hunted a lot. My grandpa was a big hide hunter. He did competition hunt a little bit, but he was never real big into it. He titled a few dogs though. And then probably when I was about 16, I bought my first hound that I actually owned. The first two that I bought were actually Walker females.
Okay.
I got them from a local guy that lived close to me. He was a squirrel hunter, and if he got a hound in that would open on track, he would call me and be like, yeah. Trevor, I don't want this dog. You know, it opens on the ground. So the first two females I got from him, and they were super good dogs. Taught me a lot. My grandpa, I don't think he thought too much about it, to be honest with you. But we didn't hunt together for quite a while after I got my first couple Walker dogs. More of a coincidence really than just not.
Than the bloodline.
Yeah, but then I actually got my first English dog out of Main Street Jack. His name was Main Street Ike. I got him from a guy out of Michigan, and he was about 10 months old, and I've stuck with that line for about the last 10 years. Okay. Since.
Did you pleasure hunt mostly in the beginning, or did you kind of do a little both?
When I first started, I pleasure hunted at first, yeah. Definitely, but I got into competition hunting really quickly. I spectated a couple casts at our local coon club, and I realized, you know, I played basketball growing up, I played baseball growing up, you know, so I was like, oh man, I can compete with these hounds too. So it was a good match. So yeah, I started competition hunting really when I was about 16 is when I entered my first competition hunt. So probably within 6 months of me getting my first dog, you know, I had her in a cast. And you know, pretty much have hit it hard pretty much ever since. You know, I support a lot of the local clubs. You know, I go to a lot of the smaller hunts, and you know, I work. I'm just, you know, whatever I can afford, I go to. Right. Pretty much. So, but you know, if we didn't have a lot of these local small clubs, we wouldn't have the big hunts we do today. Right. You know, so I like to, if there's a hunt within an hour of here, I have about 7 coon clubs within an hour of me. I'll try to, you know, if they have a hunt, I'll try to go. Try to be there. You
said you stuck with, what was the bloodline of English dogs you got here? What's it?
Main Street line.
Main Street?
Yeah,
that's
Main
what
Street
you've had
line.
Pretty much the whole time?
Yeah, really. My Main Street Ike dog was directly off of Jack, and then I got Main Street Blueberry Jam. She was directly off Main Street Jack. And then I got Main Street Blue, which is Kraken's dad. He was directly off Main Street Jack. So yeah, it's been pretty much 10 years I've had a dog directly off Main Street Jack. And he's, you know, he's #1 historical, you know, reproducer in the English breed. And that was what made Blue, Kraken's dad, so unique, really, in my opinion, because Hatchie River Dottie, Murray Reagan's female in Tennessee, she's the #1 historical female, reproducing female. So it's like, I don't know if that's ever really happened, where in the same breed, #1 historical meets #1 historical male female, and that's where Blue came, you know, came from. So
it might have happened before, but I haven't really heard of it. Really,
yeah, me neither. But it may have. I just, because that historical list can be, you know, decades, decades apart. To get one at the same time era to match, it's it's and have a dog out of both.
Right.
It's yeah, it's rare, but yeah, I enjoy Blue a lot.
So, which dog is probably your favorite dog that you've had, if you can pick one?
Well, it's hard to compare that. You know, I've had a lot of people ask me that question. Oh, is Blue better? Is Kraken better? You know, is Ike better? It's hard. They all are unique in their own way, honestly. But it's hard to compare because each one of those dogs progressively got better as they got older. You know, they got more consistent in what they did. So if I could pick a 2-year-old Blue or a 2-year-old Kraken, I would say that Kraken's, you know, he's better than Blue was.
Yeah.
But the unique thing about Blue was he kept getting better. He improved even quite a bit from 4 to 5, which, you know, you don't see that a lot, but he did. He cut out a lot of the little, you know, just a little mistake here or there that would cost you in a competition. He cut that out, you know, and so Kraken is also unique because we started breeding him so young. Yeah. You know, I didn't breed Blue till he was almost 3. He was already over 3 years old before we ever bred him. So we started breeding Kraken at 1.5 years old, and it's like it's totally different. Yeah. You know, it's hard to say what he would do.
Right.
I don't know what Blue would have been if I started breeding him at 1.5 years old. You know, and Kraken was in over, you know, around 120 competitions by the time he was 2. You know, 120 casts he was in. So Blue was not. I mean, I didn't push him near like that.
Is Kraken the one you probably pushed the hardest then?
Definitely, yeah. I mean, I was at a doubleheader last year I was at a doubleheader every Friday and Saturday for 11 weeks.
Jeez.
Straight. 11 weeks. People ask me, they're like, how do you do it? Guys come and breed and stuff, and they're like, they said, don't you work? I said, I do work. Yeah. Don't you have a family? I said, I do have a family. I said,
don't sleep.
It's hard. It's hard. Yeah. A lot of time, a lot of work, you know, a lot of drive. You got to have drive, man. Just like a dog has drive, you got to have drive to just keep going and get little sleep. I will say, though, I'm 33 now, and as I'm getting older the last few years, my son's 3 now. As I'm getting older, I'm like, man, I feel it now.
I have a son that's 3 too.
Do
and
ya?
I'm 32, so I know exactly what you're saying.
I swear, just in the last few years, it's like I wake up the next day. Before I could go to bed at 2 and get up at 6:30, and it's like, oh, I felt it a little, but now it's like, oh, man.
Ruins you for a few days.
Yeah, it's like I got to take 3 days to catch up on this. Yeah. So, yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
So you said Kraken's the one you pushed the most. You want to name off, if you can remember, his biggest wins?
Yeah, well, my partner Grant, he got a cast win on him when he was about 10 months old. He hauled him out in the cab of his car out to Grand American, or I'm sorry, the Winter Classic.
Okay.
And he got a cast win out there, and he was 10 months old. And then, really, probably his first biggest hunt win was we won National Bluetick Days last year. You know, they had about 220 dogs there. It was a really good turnout. You know, it was about 3.5 hours from here to Milton, Indiana. And, you know, I showed up. They had a big PKC hunt the next week, a $2,500 Pro Classic. And I thought, well, I'd like to go up here and see the terrain and go ahead and hunt Bluetick Days. Well, at Bluetick Days, it was beautiful weather. It was like in the 50s at night. And he really operated. I mean, really looked good. And then a week later, we go to the $2,500 Pro Classic, and it was 98 degrees. I'm serious. I mean,
I believe it.
It was 98 degrees. It was almost a 50 degrees difference.
Yeah.
And his body didn't handle it well, and they think he had a Lyme's flare up or whatever. I don't know, but he went from this to this. I mean, he just went downhill in a matter of no time. And it took me. I started doing a lot of different things. I switched dog foods. I started giving him vitamins. Started soaking his dog food, and it helped. Like a month later, he started coming out of it, started getting better. But the heat still definitely did bother him a little bit from it. But so far this year, I haven't seen any signs of heat bothering him. So, you know, count my lucky stars there that he's so far.
Yeah,
we're good. But yeah, we got in the Grand 16 at Autumn Oaks last summer with him, which was cool because I got in it with his dad Blue, you know, one year. And that's one of my most favorite hunts. I love Autumn Oaks. I love the history there, just the venue. Yeah, you know, you show up there and it's just anything a person could want You better take money when you go to Automokes, right? Because they'll have anything for you there.
Yeah.
But I do. I love Automokes. It's been a big goal of mine to win that hunt. I've wanted to win Automokes for 15 years now. I've gotten the Final Four once. I've been in the Grand 16 3 times. So I've been close. But it just I haven't broke through yet. But yeah, we got in the Grand 16 last year with him. And then we got in the top, the first year of the Tournament of Champions last year. We got in the top 96. We got made the final. I think he was the youngest dog there, because he wasn't quite 2. He was still a year, gonna be 2. Shortly after the finals there in Indiana. That was cool. That was a really fun hunt. Had a really good time there. Didn't do any good, but we had a dead cast. Mine was the only dead cast of the whole of the whole hunt. But it was a really nice venue. And I went and actually judged this year for UKC. I didn't make the final this year. I had a cast win Friday night at the zones, the first night with I think 525, and then I got beat Friday night, and then I won my cast with 525 Saturday night, and we didn't have enough score to make the final.
Okay.
So I went out there and judged for UKC this year, judged at the finals, and really good time. They even stepped it up from last year.
Yeah.
I thought they did a great job. I think it was a great move going to 96 instead of 64. The first year it was 64. So yeah, there's 30-something more people that are happy. I mean, you get $1,000 for just making the final. Pays your trip, and it's a good deal. It's a good deal they have going over there, and I'm sure it'll grow.
Yeah.
And it's brought more dogs back to the local hunts. You see a lot of these guys that you would never see.
Right.
At a local hunt, because hey, they're trying to get their 5 wins.
Qualified, yeah.
So there was even a guy there at my home club had a hunt last night here, and I drew a guy that I would never see.
Right.
And I know that's what I didn't ask him, but I know he was there to get his 5 wins.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's fine. That's what it's about.
Right.
It helps support the local clubs, and it gets some more people out there involved. That maybe wouldn't have went before. Because it's a lot of money, and it's a good deal, because you can hit your local clubs and get your 5 wins. You don't have to travel far.
Right.
You know what I mean? And there's usually a zone within reasonable distance from you to go to. So it's a good deal. It really is. But yeah, and then I made the Final Four of the PKC. We got in the top 16 last year. Kraken and we got in the top 16 of the state race. And then we got in the Final Four in the top 16 hunt off. So that was a goal of mine too. I really wanted to get in that Final Four. We ended up placing 3rd in the last cast, the late round cast, but we had a good time. And then there's a spring Bluetick hunt about an hour north of me every year. Draws a good crowd, man. It's a good hunt. It's one of probably the biggest hunt around here in the spring. Every year, they draw. This year it was way down with gas prices probably, but we've won that the last 2 years in a row. And what's unique about that hunt is it's in the beginning of the spring, and there's been some years it's been 6 inches of snow on the ground.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. You just never know. You just show up and you enter. It doesn't. But it did rain this last year, and I think it had some to do with entries. But entries were down about 30 dogs, 30 or 40 dogs this year. But yeah, so that was another thing we did. But yeah, he's got cast wins in about 6 different states, 6 or 7 different states now. South Carolina, Georgia, Pennsylvania, New York, Indiana, Illinois, Ohio. So he's traveled for just being 3. Yeah, he's been around. He's handled it really well. If you would tell me to treat a young dog like we've treated him, I wouldn't recommend it. I wouldn't recommend it. Breeding him so young and putting him in a hunt every weekend, I wouldn't recommend it. He's handled it unlike any. I don't believe I could replicate what he's done. Is what I'm saying. No. I don't. He's probably the smartest dog that I've owned. Yeah. He sticks his head out of his kennel and he observes things, and he does that in the woods too. You'll watch him. He'll look around and you can tell his mind's like thinking about things. Most hounds are like, they're not like that. Yeah. They're out there, they're hunting dogs, and that's what they are. But Grant, he raised him in the house until he was like 5 months old.
Oh, yeah.
And he hauled him around his car, put him in his house on a couch, and I don't know if that had something to do with, or if he just was born smart.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. I really don't know, but yeah, he won the cast. I took Main Street Blue to the PKC World Hunt for the first time I've ever been able to go to the PKC World Hunt. I've never been able to go because work. It's at the end of the year. You got to take a whole week off work.
Yeah.
I just don't have enough time, you know. With all the hunts I go through the year, it's like I take a day here, take a day here, take 2 days here, take 2 days here, take days off to deer hunt some, and it's like, man, I don't have any days left. So, but during COVID, my work had us off some. So I was like, man, this is my one time I'll get to go to the PKC World Hunt. And I went out there with Blue and Kraken, and I got a double cast win the very first night with Blue on Monday night. And then I hunted Kraken on Tuesday night and drew a really tough cast. I mean, it was a tough cast. And I'm like, man, he was like 16 months old, you know. And I'm like, man, I don't know how he's going to handle it. He's been in the dog box for 3 days. Well, 2 days.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't know how he was going to handle it, but we got a cast win out there the first night, and then we had to go out for our late round. And it was the hardest rain and thunder and lightning storm I've ever hunted in. I've never seen anything like it. Like halfway through our cast, the rain was actually, we're standing out in the field, and the rain was coming horizontal, like, and hitting us in the back. And it was running right down our back and into our chaps. And when I got done, I was walking, and I was like, are my boots leaking? I was like, we didn't even cross a creek. And when I got back to the truck, I dumped a gallon out of each boot, just from rainwater. I mean, it was crazy. He stayed gone and stayed hunting the whole time. We made 2 trees in those 4 dogs that were all pretty good dogs. And we only made 2 trees. Well, we made 3, I'm sorry. A female made a slick tree right off the bat. And we recasted. He recasted her off the slick tree. And it was thunder and lightning so hard, she wouldn't even hunt. She was walking with us. I mean, thunder and lightning, and it's pouring so hard you can't, I mean, you couldn't even hardly shine trees. And, you know, without squinting. And she was walking with us. Well, we were trying to tighten up on our dogs because, you know, if they got 200 yards, you couldn't hear them. So we were walking up with them, and she walked with us for probably 10 minutes. And she slipped off and treed right beside us, 10 feet, you know, right beside us. And she had a coon right there, and that put her back to 0. Well, with like 5 minutes left in the hunt, Kraken treed way on top of a ridge. And the only reason you could hear him, it was raining so hard, only reason you could hear him is because he was way up high on a ridge, and it was carrying right down to it. And I treated him, he was 800 yards away. And we walked in there to him, and he was on a tree, you know, 3 guys couldn't get their arms around. I don't know if he had a coon, he probably didn't, but he gave me a chance, you know, he did give me a chance to win. But yeah, that was another, I was proud of him, you know. I was like, man, go out here, he's 16 months old and compete at that level, you know. I thought, I was happy, you know, I was happy with that. Was the only night I hunted, and then I ended up coming home Wednesday, and then I stayed home all day Thursday, and then drove back out there Friday to hunt the quarterfinals with Blue. But yeah, Kraken, he's been good. He's been good to me. We led the English breed in the performance race last year, you know, in performance points. We had like 18, you know, I had over 18 points won last year with him. That was a goal I had to. I was like, I want to win that performance race. His dad, Blue, was second in the sires, you know, performance sires. And that's another program that UKC has that I think people should take advantage of, you know. It's $30 to pay your pup up.
Yeah.
You know, when it's 6 months old, $30. If you go to one hunt in that dog's life and you place or get a first, you're going to make that $30 back from one hunt, you know. So it's worth it, you know. I mean, it's went down every year, the value, because more dogs are winning points, more dogs are performance. So naturally the fund, they haven't raised the fees for the last, I don't think they've raised the fees since they started the program. It's been the same, I think, every year. If you pay your sire up by the end of the year, it's $100 to pay your sire up. Yeah. And then, like I said, but before they would let you, after your dog was like 2 years old, you could still pay it up. It cost you like $200 or $300. Yeah. But now they did that 12-month top off, where after your dog's 12 months old, it's like,
done.
Yep, we're not letting you performance it anymore, because they thought it was gonna make people pay more of them up,
Yeah.
and it would make the value go up. But I don't know, it hasn't. Now, 10 years ago, you'd show up to a hunt and 1 out of 10 dogs there would be performance. So you're getting the money. Well, now 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10 are performance. So all your cast winners are getting a little piece of that. But yeah, anyway, it's a good program.
Do you have any other big hunts coming up that you're going to be putting him in?
He's qualified. I qualified him for the World Hunt, UKC World Hunt this year, and I'll be hunting Autumn Oaks, definitely entering Autumn Oaks with him. So I'll probably go to Autumn Oaks in the zones, and he has 1 Super Stakes left. He hunts the Fall Senior Super Stakes this year. So those are the 3 really that I have circled that I'm really looking forward to going to. I haven't pushed too hard. This is the first year in PKC that I haven't pushed in the last 4 years. I just haven't. We're breeding him.
Yeah.
I've had people here almost every weekend. So it's been impossible, to hit very many. And I'm building the house right now. I just have so much going on right now. It's hard to go through the week and hit these weeknight hunts.
Yeah.
It's just, and with gas prices, it's like, man, even if I win, it's like I'm still losing 20 bucks, and it's hard to win, man. I mean, they don't give them away to you around here. I mean, it's tough competition. You show up to a local $30 hunt here, and you might draw dogs that's won $100,000, $50,000, and it's like, they don't give you a win, believe me. So you got to weigh all those options, and it's like, and then I got to get up and go to work the next day tired over all that. So yeah, but I'm a little disappointed with that I'm probably not gonna be in the top 16 this year. But as they say, there's always next year. There's always next year. Hopefully I'll get a pup out of him going good, and I may. He's been in so many hunts, man. He's been in so many casts already. It's like you got to kind of decide, do I want to keep hitting all these local smaller hunts? What are you really gaining? He could go and something bad could happen, and is it really worth it? It's really not. No. I entered him in a local UKC hunt here a few weeks ago, probably a month ago, and a whole, he was clear off by himself. He just treated coon, and I recut him, and he struck a track 500 yards, and he was driving it, and he was moving it good, opening here, opening here, opening here. And I believe he was about to come treed. And all of a sudden, man, just coyotes all around him. They ran him all the way back to the truck, barking at him, growling. Sounded like they bit him, because he squalled. He gave a few barks I never heard him give. So I know they bit him. But when I got back to the truck, I didn't see any markings on him. I didn't see any blood, but they definitely bit him, because he squalled and squealed, So I was like, man, what was I doing out there? Was it really worth it? It was just a local UKC hunt. Wow. And he already had his 50 wins. Yeah. It's like, what was I even doing there? So, but yeah, that was another goal that we had really pushed, was to try to get him in the Hall of Fame as fast as we could, get his 50 wins in UKC, because I really wanted to do it with his dad. I was really close. I only needed a handful more wins, and then he died, at 6 years old. And I didn't push Blue at all, because I was hunting him in PKC so much. Yeah. And I had Kraken in all the UKC hunts on the weekend, and I had Blue in all the PKC hunts during the week. So Blue would have definitely had his 50 wins, but I couldn't hunt them both. Yeah. So I was doing them here and there with Blue as I had the time. If I had a hunt, I would hunt Kraken maybe one round and then hunt Blue the other sometimes. But yeah, it was unfortunate. I wanted to get his other 50 wins, but it just didn't happen.
So you said you started breeding him a lot early. Do you have anything young off of him, or?
Yeah, there's a male over there in the kennel I have off of him now. I've had a few dogs here off of him. I haven't owned any of them. Right now I just have a half sister to him, and I have a male off of him and a female called Minnie that my buddy Tom Miller owns, and I'm just hunting him for him a little bit. I've had a few of the litter mates here. I think there were 6 in that litter, and I've had 4 of them here at one time or another. I've seen them all tree coon, all 4 of them. They're about a year old now. I think they're 12 months old, maybe not quite 12 months old, but there's a guy that's actually going to come and go with us in a little bit, and he's got a 9-month-old off of Kraken and my Jam female, which Jam was the you know, she's the best female that I personally have ever owned. So I had high hopes for that cross. Really tight bred though. I mean, they are, because Jam was a double Main Street Roy dog. Her grandpa was out of her grandpa on her top side, Main Street Roy. Her mom's dad was out of Main Street Roy. Okay. And then Kraken's grandpa or great grandpa's Main Street Roy. So it would work or it wouldn't, right? Right. But it's really worked so far. I mean, they're young, you know, they're 9 months old. But I've seen him go. He came and went with me one night, and we cut that pup loose with my young female I have out here, and he just fired in there, and he had a coon treed in under a minute. I mean, he was 150 yards and just bang, treed. And I'm like, man, that's what those dogs do, and that's what I look for. Yeah. You know, ones that don't pass coon, don't look to leave the country. You know, treat them as they come to them. Yeah. But do it fast. Do it fast. You know, if there's one out here 200 yards, I don't want you taking 10 minutes to treat it. I need you to have you treat in 2 or 3 minutes. Yeah. You know, not every time, obviously. You know, stuff happens. But I'm saying on a consistent basis, if I flip one down a fence row this time of year, I expect them to be treated. If 5 to 7 minutes, you know, they need to be treated. Yeah. You know, there should be treated with a coon too, and not just tree. And I don't get along with that either. But yeah, that pup is really nice, and hopefully Jacob comes and goes tonight with us, and we might drop him one time maybe. We'll see how it goes tonight. But he's got a real mouth, good acting pup, really good acting pup. He says he takes after Jam. He looks a lot like Jam, but yeah, Kraken's throwing some pups that have some really coarse mouths. I've seen like four or 5 videos that people have sent me from different crosses, and they have really coarse, deep tone mouths, and which is kind of unique to me, because he's got a little bit of a, we'll see later, but he's got a little bit of a squeal toward the end of some of his barks. Yeah. And I kind of thought, well, maybe he would pass that on to his pups, but it seems like it's went the other way. And which I'm fine with. You know, you can hear them, it carries, you know, but
all right, I'm sure we'll see what they sound like here in a little bit.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so. Hopefully we can get him coming on a few trees, and I'm going to try to take us to some spots where I feel that the sound would be better in there, just so we can hear good. Yeah. I got a lot of Interstate 71. You hear it right now. Yeah, it's like 1.5 miles, 2 miles through here, but there's a lot of the woods I hunt around here. It doesn't seem like it matters if you get 3 miles from it. It's like you can hear that freeway. Yeah. It's awful. We're gonna get a little away from it tonight, but we'll see how it goes. Hopefully Coon moved tonight. We had all that rain last week. Like I said, it rained almost 6 inches here. 2 days it rained almost 6 inches. There was flooding all in this area. I mean, it was crazy. And I had been hunting probably about three to 4 nights a week. It was in the 90s. Yeah. You know, it was 80s, upper 80s, super hot at night. And I was going around here and just treeing coon. And then it poured rain, and I'm like, oh man, these coon are gonna be just doing backflips. Man, I couldn't get a track. He went 1,000 yards the other night before he struck a track around here, and that's far. Yeah. You know, I mean, he circled a whole block and ended up at the very back right corner before he struck. And I'm like, man. And it was that way for 2 days after that rain. I thought it would have been total opposite, but you just never know. They're hard to predict. Yeah. These kitten coon have really been starting to move good around here too. I've been seeing them hit on the road, and even in competition hunts the last few weeks, you know, you walk in and you'll see 4 or 5, you know, in a tree. So good time of year for pups right now, my opinion. It's like it doesn't get any better.
Oh,
when
agree.
The corn starts coming up, and it's like, man, if you got a pup that you need to start, now's the time.
Yeah.
He's happy to go tree. He's happy to go tree coon for you.
Like that.
Yeah, she's got a good looking. Go ahead and pull my chaps up. got to go to the bathroom pretty quick after you get him out. Preferably not on my car tire. You ready? Guess they're on this fence row tonight.
Yep.
I mean, he's right on its tail.
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't bark that much on track unless it's, I mean, he does open good, but not that consistently unless it's right in front of him. There's one big tree out in that field. I've treed on it some in my day.
I can kind of see the top of it.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, he blitzed it down through that field. He zigzagged a little bit out here. That's the first track I've ran out in the field this year yet.
Yeah, I haven't been doing much tracking on the fields at home either.
Yeah, me neither. That's the first time I've had it this year. For sure. There's some dandy trees in here. Watch this limb here, buddy.
Okay.
It's gonna swing. He's not moving now. It's kind of tough over in there. I'd like to go back out here.
Before we get struck in real quick, how do you like starting pups when you get a pup?
Usually I try to introduce them to a coon. Not in a cage though. Usually I'll take them with an older dog at first. Cut them a few times with another dog, especially a dog that I knows pretty straight, a pretty decent coon dog. That way the odds of them being introduced to a coon first go up quite a bit. But yeah, I've only ever actually trapped a coon one time in my life, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I don't even own a coon trap. I know a lot of people have great success doing that. It's just not something that I've done. Because I think it matters where you live too.
Yeah.
Around here we have a good coon population. We got a good coon population, so you could go this time of year and you should be able to get your dog on some pretty easy tracks.
Yeah.
And that helps them really get going.
Have you noticed any females you've crossed on him being better than the other ones, or is he pretty consistent? Or is there a certain line you like to cross with?
Well, so far, to be honest with you, most of them's pretty young.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to tell what crosses are working good. But there's been he's got about 4 or 5 different crosses that pups have got wins off 4 or 5 different females. So far, we're really liking what we're seeing. Most of them are starting pretty early, pretty natural. Most guys are sending me videos week after week, and they're just carrying them to the woods. A lot of them. Some of them are doing some drags and whatnot. Don't trim until you hear that squeal, though. falling through. Goes up into a jungle.
You got it thermal?
Yeah.
I might be able to look through the thermal with the camera.
Yeah. His tail over that limb.
Right there.
Uh-huh. That's a good find.
Found the coon. He treed on that leaner all the way up into there. It's setting up in there.
He's all wet. He was in that swamp.
Yeah.
He's trailing around in that swamp. We're gonna head back out to the field and we'll probably go somewhere else now.
Sounds good.
Struck a track here on the edge of these beans. That's what we like to hear.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. There he is, right? He's looking at me here. See it? Right there. Yeah. He's looking. I got one eye strong right here.
I can see his mouth.
Oh, you can see it?
Yep, you got it. Turn him loose and he already struck in. Pretty quick.
Well, that was about a 30-second deal.
Maybe less than that.
Probably 20. Coon must have come down and got a little drink out of that ditch.
Probably. The one on the left just looked.
Did he?
Yeah.
You want to try to use this? He said, I've been doing a lot of...
It's not very cool out right now. It's pretty warm. He's still treeing good.
Yeah, it's muggy, isn't it? It's like a spring chicken. He's just getting started.
Good boy.
All right, let's head on out. Go. Like the Energizer Bunny.
Yep. So far, I've turned him loose 4 times. He's treed 4 coon. Get ready to turn him loose here again.
This big old deer we just crossed.
Yeah. As soon as we pulled in, a deer just ran through here. So we treed 4 pretty quick. What's the most you scored with this dog in a hunt?
That was a National Bluetick Days this year. Here a couple months ago. I scored 1325 on Friday night, the first night of Bluetick Days. That's been my highest score with him. I broke 1,000 a few times with him. Once at Tournament of Champions Zones last year. And so yeah, 1325 is the best I've scored with him.
There's a highway right over there, so I don't know if you can hear that too well in the video, but he's opening now.
Yes, sir. Struck it in the middle kind of, and he brought it back toward the edge of the beans here. He's not very far from the edge of the bean field down there. Normally.
Yeah.
As long as I can get a light in it.
About the same as last one.
Yeah. Very small tree. He comes right at you.
Yeah.
I know you're watching me. Oh yeah.
Yep, one more time.
3-5 in a row. All we can do is go downhill from here. Sorry about that.
You're all right. I didn't realize there was a building there.
Yeah, it's an old fallen in. That's weak though. I'll have to do better than that. He pretty much opened up tree, didn't he?
Yeah, pretty much.
He gave a couple barks. He says, now I need a drink. Come on, Frank.
So that was his 6th coon. We turned him loose 6 times. He had 6 coon.
I'm not saying they never have a bad night, never look bad. Because every now and then they do, but it's very rare.
Yeah.
And that's why I hunt them. Because man, I like to go behind my house and flip a dog on a weeknight and know that, by God, I'm gonna pull mine off and go get it treed with a coon pretty quick.
Right.
And I don't have to worry about, am I gonna have to chase this dog? Am I gonna have to, it's just, they're just no nonsense dogs. The way I describe the best is, when you cut them loose, they got one thing on their mind. One thing. That's getting on a tree with a coon in it. forget everything else. If you can get them just focused on that, then man, you can really have something special.